Hello, senor.
Hello,
¿Cómo
sir.
estás? What are you doing?
Juggling, dude, juggling, burning candles, 12 candles,
You gotten up
12
to three
minutes.
balls yet? Are you still juggling too?
Yeah, no, I'm still just juggling too.
It
'Cause,
was always the thing when we were in college and if some kid could juggle or whatever, and you're always like, "Oh, that looks real easy," and you go start it, and you're just like, "Okay." The trick is to just get past thinking about it, But three was definitely harder than two. That's for sure.
there's so much in
Double
that.
layered entendre in there, perhaps.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
whatever you were doing in college was a lot different than me.
Well, yeah, it was a lot of fun, everybody. So if you're young and getting ready to head off in that direction,
I
yeah.
had a lot of fun. Did I ever tell you my? I'll quickly. I was at a very small school in Fort Worth, Texas, called Texas Wesleyan College, now
The preacher
University of
school,
Texas.
right? Like to learn how to be a preacher.
No, it's just a Methodist school.
Okay.
And uh I I we came into campus. There were, it was a small school, like I don't know, it was 1,500 people maybe in the whole school. And it was there were only 3 frats on the entire campus, right? And so all 3 frats, we decided as a group of freshman dudes, like 30 of us, that we were going to pledge to one fraternity together. And the frats were not like you see on the big college campuses. It was very friendly, very small, lots of fun, whatever. And so we thought we'd leverage our strength and combine together and make them really, work for us and then have some control. Well, there was one frat on campus that was almost dead. There were literally 3 guys left in the frat. But they had a house. Like they had this big old 3-story friggin' house, right?
Oh
And
yeah, big things.
we're all
Oh
like,
god,
wait a
oh
minute.
god, oh god.
Yeah. So, but we decided that this other frat had more money and was rushing us harder. And so we were going to join them. And we told the 3 guys, and literally 2 of the guys like broke down in tears because they had spent like the entire last year and that summer like rebuilding their house, and they were counting on us, right? And one of the guys said to us, he said, why would you go to a frat that has, I don't know, had 100 people, whatever? Why would you go to a frat that has all these people and all these people in place when we're both seniors, and in 1 year all of you guys will have control of an entire fraternity? And we were like, oh shit, that's right. We would have control. Actually, we wouldn't even have to wait for you guys to be gone. So we took over the house and we joined.
Let me guess real quick. Delta House?
No, it could have been Sig Eps. But here's the crazy shit. Half of the guys in our group went to work for the local Budweiser distributor. There was a tap on almost every wall of that house. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. It was
yeah.
Was
so
crazy.
Like when you went in the kitchen, it was like hot, cold beer.
Everywhere.
We're cooking with beer out here. We're cooking with
kegs
Yeah.
everywhere. So then we became the party house. Like all the other 2 frats were just like
The uptight dudes. Yeah.
All the girls came to our frat. It was fun. Anyway, story nobody
So
gives a
that
shit
like
about,
kind of stories you tell around the Christmas dinner table with the wife and kitties.
Exactly. My girlfriend was a little sister. So it was fun. It was fun. Anyway,
Definitely good times. Yeah.
So kind of crazy day right now, Joe. Well, crazy since last night. So I'm not giving out any big news to anybody that's not been asleep until this moment. SBF is in custody in the Bahamas.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Based
I was
on
the PCI prints. I forgot about SBF.
Oh yeah, based on his. Oh, look, he's on the TV behind you.
Yeah, there's just wall-to-wall hearings about, oh my God, it's like somebody made the railroad comparison and the mortgage comparison, and then some congressman goes up to say, well, that doesn't mean we didn't stop investing in railroads and we didn't stop investing in mortgage securities, but this was just too much, the debts of crypto. I'm just like, what the You know, it's humorous, man. It's funny.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
exactly. Well, here's what I just tweeted a minute ago on that topic exactly. It's funny you should say that. So I said, members of Congress aren't doing anything to boost their image. Institute financial punishment for infractions. Repeating shit said 5 other times in the hearing. Stating the obvious. Ignorant pontificating on the topic. Not asking a question. And letting Brad Sherman speak. Those should all be punishable financially. Or, you know, shock collars. I don't know. But, you know, anyway. Yeah. Well, Nicholas says there's one guy happy about SBF, Do Kwon.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, this is the whole thing we talk about. You lay low, you get your lawyers up, get somewhere where you can't be dragged in, and then wait for the next event. And so here's Do Kwon just chilling, and like all of a sudden, boom.
He could have had 2 years of fucking freedom, a leverage to negotiate, but instead he goes on a fucking media tour confessing everything. And just made, look, I've been tweeting for the last few weeks to everybody freaking out that he's not arrested yet, that he wasn't going to be arrested yet, that financial investigations take months, years to do. And he went out and the prosecutors are just like, yeah, let him keep speaking. Yeah, keep going. Keep fucking talking, you idiot.
Well, thank God. I think I heard one congressman say today, thank God the whole thing was on QuickBooks or it'd be a total mess. I think that's what Brad Sherman said. And I'm like, the whole thing was on QuickBooks. Well, that's interesting.
And then I heard a fucking congressman say, I'm going to make a resolution to rename cryptocurrency cryptocurrency. Yeah. I was like, are you fucking in Congress? Seriously, dude? I mean, really? I mean, it's just fucking embarrassing. It's just, there was like zero value from those hearings. They should have let Ray speak. Sum up everything, submit the 5 questions that every one of them asked over and over again, and stop wasting everybody's fucking time, because it's just, they're pitiful. They're all so pitiful.
You know what's interesting to me? Again, I just come back to Sequoia, SoftBank, you know, all those groups of due diligence. And, you know, and when I say it's being run on QuickBooks, I mean, that's not a compliment.
No,
you know,
of
that's
course
like,
not.
what the fuck are you doing, dude?
$multi-billion on fucking QuickBooks.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what Chuck means.
Imagine the poor guy that was supposed to keep it up to date.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know Kevin Spacey. Yeah. I mean, how many incidents, but, you know, you can't really lay low for that. I guess, you know, you could look at that whole Me Too movement space and be like, I don't know if Kevin Spacey fits in the Me Too strictly, but, you know, we're talking about sexual assault type stuff, I think. And, you know, waiting for the next one, it's kind of like, it seems like it was all interrelated. But here, I think with Do Kwon and all the other crew of all of those groups, you know, Sesta, all of them, you know, I think this type of SBF does shield them, because it just looks like colossal shit show that was, you know, had all the leading VCs in it. Yeah. And that's what I find so, you know, disconcerting. In a lot of ways. What is he saying?
He says, do you think SBF testifying today with Maxine Waters was the reason he got arrested yesterday? No, I don't. I
don't think so either. I don't, you know, there's nothing he hasn't already disclosed, you know, that he would have disclosed there. So I don't look at it. I think it's just the flaunting.
I think they had all the incriminating evidence they needed. I think that there was a race between the Southern District of New York and the SEC and CFTC. They wanted to be first in, and Southern District got the grand jury impaneled and got the indictment and said, well, let's fucking go. You know, I think it was a race to be the first one. And I love that fucking Gensler came in second, because that cracks me the hell up.
Well, yeah, and particularly this one, because this was, you know, this was the one that had all the inside people on the panels and boards and advisory sections, so that it implied legitimacy, it implied safety, it implied crypto for TradeFi types, crypto for normie types. It implied insured, it implied all of these things that just looking at by who was there, and it gets gutted. Yep. So, you know, I mean, the other ones that got in trouble, obviously they, you know, were doing something different. Yeah. But to me, this is the one that was, you know, supposedly trying to be the regulated one. And I think that's what's so troubling. So again, back to, Decentralization.
Yep.
Number one.
Here's speaking of decentralization, here's something that's really interesting. This is from Eleanor Terrett, and she's giving credit to Liam Crypto SEO. Page 6 of the complaint against SBF by the CFTC definitively calls Ether and Tether commodities.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. Like really, really, really interesting. That they would go that far. Now, this could be just one-upmanship trying to gain territorial advantage by the CFTC to basically say, no, SEC, this one's ours. You're fucked. You know, but I don't know. We'll see how it all shakes out. But the fact that they would declare it is good for the space. So Niblet says this is a game the tech bros don't know how to play, and the Bannisters do. This is why some
might be
barristers. This is why some crypto folks are going to jail when all the 08 crooks got bonuses. Yeah, that's for damn sure. Like nobody went to jail for 2008, and a whole crop of folks are going to go to jail here. At least SBF, and I think that he's going to turn on everybody and try to get some other folks to go down with him and reduce his sentence, but we'll see what happens. His poor parents
staring down 185 years.
Yeah.
Just on the first batch of charges, which I find intriguing. I mean, just, I get it. You got to deter this type of activity, but like, what was Epstein staring down?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, look, I think
was Kenneth Lay staring down 30.
Yep.
So to me, I don't know. I mean, you just got, I'm saying, be friggin' careful. This is why you don't do a token generating event in the US. Because when you get securities laws in place, they're there for a reason. And they're the easiest ones to just throw the book at you with. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I mean, we all look, it was obvious he was going to jail, and it was just going to be a matter of time, and he just made it easy. He just made it easy. And it's back to that old crypto arrogance shit. My shit doesn't stink. And the people I feel sorry for, or two of the people I feel sorry for, I obviously feel sympathy for everyone that lost money in this whole thing, but his parents. And I know that'll piss off some conservatives in the group, but these are two people that had standing reputations at Stanford and throughout the educational community. They were contributing philanthropically to a lot of things prior to him having money and giving them money for their charities. They were well regarded and respected. They're now out, right? Their careers are over. And one of the father was actually on the payroll of FTX, but it wasn't in a capacity of knowing what the fuck and how the numbers were run or anything else. He was doing promotional work, whatever. But the fact that, at some point, this guy's got to feel at least some level of guilt that he just devastated and destroyed his parents. Because, look, they may have some money, but this is going to wipe them out because they'll have to hire attorneys. They'll have nothing, and now they have no jobs, right? And so it's just,
that's a tough one, man. Parents running around talking up their kid, and then he screws them. It's got to be embarrassing.
Eamon says, I kind of wonder if it is him asking Bahamian people to get him out of needing to go to the Senate to testify. Nah, I don't think so. The order came from the Southern District of New York. With the arrest warrant, and that's why the Bahamians went out and grabbed him. So
I think, isn't there an issue in the U.S. with, like, when a lot of times congressional testimony can't be used against you in certain circumstances. So the Southern District of New York was probably thinking, we got to pull the trigger on this now because we can't.
Oh, that's a good point.
So that might have been why they did it.
That's
but as we said, it was about an arrest order from them before the fact. They're asking the Bahamians to apprehend him. So I don't think I don't think that's the issue this time, Eamon.
Yeah. Niblet says, what are the differences between crypto tokens and things like Starbucks points? Is it just that points aren't tradable and only redeemable? Yeah. I mean, I would say that's
flyer miles. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, in terms though of the difference between those and Pokemon cards, there is no difference. So anyway.
Yeah. I think that, we've been talking about these issues for 5 years.
Right.
And it's still, I think the only thing that we have clarified is that perhaps that Bitcoin's not a security.
Well, and look, I think
everything
that's the
else is
reason.
up.
I think the reason Gensler doesn't want, there's two reasons Gensler doesn't want to clarify regulatorily about crypto, even though he knows intellectually it's different, is number one, it makes it easier for him to go after people and score points. And the incentives are to score points, right? How many fines can I get? How many people can I get in jail? How many prosecutions? How many deals can I get? Right. Number two, well, we'll make it three. Number two is he doesn't want anything on the record. That's why he always wants to settle every charge. But the third thing here is they can't afford to have the clarity of the regulations become a discussion, because then there's the potential to upset every aspect of the way securities are enforced. Because the people in this space, the attorneys in this space are going to lobby and argue that other things like frigging Pokemon cards can be treated the same way. And so you don't want that on the table if you're Gary Gensler. You don't want that discussion to be had in court, because it could impact everything else you're supposed to be doing in the job. So
yeah, it's I think the hard part is too that no matter what it is, you can turn it into a security by how you, I guess, sell it, or I guess raise money, right there, security.
right.
So I think that some of the underlying technology, protocols aren't securities, but maybe they did something to make them a security in the U.S. regulatory framework. And that's what makes it so confusing to me. That it's almost like it's better to just amnesty everybody that did any kind of remote, like turn it into security by how you raise the money thing, and then go and look at the tech and declare, are these securities or not?
Right.
Not based upon what you did, but on what it is. I think that's the only way we clear through this mess.
Yeah, but the problem is that's not their incentive. Their incentive is prosecutions,
And it's not the incentive of the law firms either, because they want billable hours, or the financial planners, or the consultants.
Yep.
It's, everybody wants to keep it a mess. So otherwise, why would you have a flat tax in the US?
If you truly cared about people and consumers and investors and protecting them, then you would say, here are the clear-cut rules for how cryptocurrency projects should issue tokens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? If you actually cared and believed what you say, that you think the technology should be supported, then that's what you would do. But that again is not the incentive. The incentive is Gensler wants to become Secretary of Treasury, and every attorney at the SEC wants to burnish their reputation and career and show how strong they were and how many prosecutions they got and how many points they scored, either for their government career or so when they go into private practice on the other side of the equation. And it just, nobody has a motivation to actually help people.
You got to get some notches on your gun belt before you go to the private sector.
Exactly.
You got to take down some targets.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Niblet says frequent flyer miles are the only profit centers for airlines. Lots of gray between crypto and points and currencies. Yeah, I agree. It's interesting.
Yeah. The only thing I was thinking when we're just talking about the Pokemon cards, and that if someone's buying a token because they think it's going up in value, it's a security. Because anybody that thinks it could go up in value turns it like cards. Think about Pokemon cards. But points in Starbucks points, they don't fit that criteria. Because nobody expects it to go up in value. It is what it is.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
I didn't really thought of it that way before.
That is a good point.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just a mess. But when you take that mess and throw it on top of people that are like spending customer money and breaking all the fundamental rules, that just makes us all look bad.
Of course.
And so I do want this to be cleaned up properly. And, so we can get to the real stuff. I mean, does this remind you of do you think this is like Cryptopia is so much smaller? But, to me, at the end of the 17, 18 cycle, the Cryptopia was kind of the nail in the coffin for me. In the sense, it was just like after the Thanksgiving Day massacre, or close to Thanksgiving Day, and then the Cryptopia thing in January, it was just like, to me, it was a capitulation moment where I was just like, fuck this shit. And I wondered, is this SBF, is that what people feel like? maybe the newer cycle people. Is this the capitulation moment for them? And I kind of, if Binance can just stay clean, I think it is. So I think it is kind of the beginning of the end. Sure.
We'll see. Chuck said many jurisdictions have issued those guidelines and rules. Gibraltar FTC did it 5 years ago. The SEC isn't doing it because TradFi's survival instinct says this would be their death sentence. Well, that's a really valid point. Well, look, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about getting to decentralization, right? So that's the critical thing. Now, you just brought up Binance, and the FUD is flying fast and furious between Bitcoin maxis who want to see anything that isn't pure Bitcoin go down.
Right.
Although somebody should ask them where they're going to buy their Bitcoin after, if it does.
Well, it's not just limited to that, though. It's limited to fiat markets too.
Exactly.
Those all gone too. So
yeah. And then of course everybody is spreading. Look, here's an example. Eamon, why are people running on Binance now? I've seen stuff about a money laundering charge and a potential run on the Binance Bank. So on the money laundering charge, there was a story yesterday saying that potentially there could be charges. But that doesn't mean the exchange shuts down. It just means that people get charged and the exchange gets charged, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the whole thing gets shut down.
They might find one person in there that was facilitating this who becomes the
scapegoat. Yeah.
Sacrificial lamb. I mean, they're dirty. They did it, but they're the ones that get thrown out to the wolves.
Exactly.
But for the most part, it's not an going concern issue for Binance at that point.
Right. And then the Binance bank run, Eamon, is just a bunch of fucking influencers all making everybody panic, from Mike Alfred to other people, all yelling and screaming and telling everybody to get their money out of Binance. And there is zero evidence that there's something going on there. Now, my tweet
is it a standard
about this,
central exchange complaint, like you shouldn't have it on sexes, or is it Binance is imploding?
No, it's everybody. No, they're making the claim that Binance is going to implode, right?
Oh.
And that's and it feels. I don't think it is, but it certainly feels like a real concerted effort by a group of folks to fucking try to take down Binance. I don't know if it's people that are, that lost a lot of money on FTX and they're just pissed that everybody else still has theirs. I don't know if they truly believe somehow they have some insights to it that somehow Binance is in trouble. But, but my tweet about it brought Sean out of detox. So,
Oh, that's right. He's out planting trees, right?
Yeah. He always thinks thinks CZ is a hero. I have zero worship of CZ. I think he's done a great job running his business. I think he's a good businessman. I have no reason to doubt his ethics at this point, until I see evidence otherwise. And I think he has brilliantly built a multi-billion-dollar business in 5 years that most people couldn't pull off. And so the interesting thing today was there was this posted by CL207. Binance has $62.5 billion in cold wallets. $62.5 billion in cold wallets. Take away the $9 billion of that is in BNB, and you're still looking at $53 billion in cold wallets. That's not money that's moving around. It's not money that's, it's all customer assets. So, there may be liabilities there. CZ claims there aren't. And even if there are, I think it's a big fucking stretch to say there's $53 billion worth of liabilities against this exchange.
Well, look, dude, first I'm going to say one thing. I like that he's showing the number, but here's the big point. If he's saying that 62 billion in customer deposits, there's 62 billion in customer liabilities on the other side of the balance sheet. So there is no cushion there. If this was Treasury holding or reserves.
Well, we don't know what this matches up with, but I agree.
Oh, I thought you just said it was customers. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, I'm just saying that is certainly customer funds. I just don't know if in that number is also Binance funds. I have no idea. I don't know.
I would hope that there's more.
Yeah, I would too. Of course.
For Binance. But what I like is, look, it's a start, but we got to see the other side of the financial statements too. We got to see the liabilities to really understand it. Now, if I'm CZ, I'm sitting there going, whatever environment I'm in, regulatory regime I'm in, if it, I'm going to try to be in one that's not requiring that. So he's in a situation where he's not required, but he's trying to like hold off the U.S. regulators, because there are Americans in there, obviously, have been, and so he's trying to find a way. But it's not like we should expect him to set up a bunch of audited financials for everybody to review. It's a private company, right. I mean, he doesn't really have to do that.
No, look, I mean, I think from a marketing perspective, I think from a marketing perspective, he should do more, right? At least show the liabilities in general terms and make sure that, people feel a little more comfortable, but that's up to him. Like you said, he's a private company. He can decide whether his business thrives or not. There have been 1.9 billion in withdrawals, which is, a significant number, but they have pretty regular withdrawals in the hundreds of millions on a daily basis. So it's more than normal, I guess, but not catastrophic. But when I tweeted about this, Plutarchos NFT replied to me with a good point. He said, if the customer funds are whole, it shall pass in a couple of days. If not, then it is not FUD. It is a real stress test and to see the outcome. And look, I think that the idea of it being a stress test is okay, valid. But at the same time, I don't think the ecosystem can take it right now. Like a mad bank run on Binance and a collapse of some kind would put a level of devastation into crypto right now that we can't afford. And
well, I think that's
the drive. The death. Yeah.
That's part of the Reuters article yesterday at DOJ. How that's what they're talking about. If we do this now, it kills it. So that's the debate, in my mind. But look, if someone wants to break it, it's going to be on the BNB level. And so as long as people pay attention to liquidation clusters around BNB, where are all the shorts? I would watch those numbers. And if that starts going up like 5, 6x, in waiting to put a pressure on it, then I would say, somebody is attacking it. But
that could be well it.
Yeah, but people are just bad mouthing and saying, take it out. Look, if you want to take it out, take it out. I personally don't think you're going to lose it at Binance, personal opinion, because he's bailed out every hack they've ever had, less than 5, I believe, or mistakes, bridges. He bails them out. So, I just don't see it being a huge issue for Binance. I think people are pissed at him. BTC maxis do their pissed at everybody routine. But, the people that were SPF people, they are pissed at him because he took out SPF. So did he know that SBF took out, one of the other ones, Terra or the other one? I don't know if he knows that or he knew it then, but he saw shenanigans. And he decided to exit from CZ and exit from that show by selling his holdings. Yeah,
look, and I see people being mad at him. I see people being mad at him if they truly believe he intentionally brought down FTX, because then they lose their funds. But that was a house of cards that was going to fall eventually. Anyway.
Yeah, look, FTX is already proven. I mean, they were dipping into customer funds at the beginning. They've already proven it was a total mess. And the Alameda stuff I was looking at today, that there was like an $8 billion sub wallet of like Alameda's trading account that was negative, a negative 8B. And so they moved it into another account that was kind of the equivalent of, what do we have that one general account for? What fund? Slush fund. It was something like that. And they just hid $8 billion in losses on that Alameda account out of the gate. Yeah. So he was going to kill himself no matter what. And if CZ it moved it on, that I don't have a problem with that. I kind of go contrary there.
Niblet says, I think there's a lot of hate and fear and there's churn in the water right now. Probably a lot of people are looking to attract attention by stirring it more. I agree. It's attention seeking for a lot of them. Euphoric says, it's ironic that trolls are using Twitter to FUD Binance, considering CZ's investment in Twitter. Yeah, that's absolutely
true. Good point, man.
Eamon says, the fact that there are still 7% of the entire market cap on deposit at a centralized exchange is mind-blowing. People don't learn to take custody of their stuff ever. Haha. I think there's a couple of things here. First, people that are active traders, you cannot get, if you're an active day trader, there's nowhere for you to trade off of a centralized exchange right now. We're just not there yet, except for like gains or synthetics exchanges in DeFi. You cannot actually trade the tokens themselves, except for one that's database backed for it to be fast enough for prices to keep up. But I think that'll change. And I think we're going to progress further. And absolutely people need to, control their own assets and get them off exchange if they're just sitting idle. Put on what you want to trade and come off with the rest. But the other side of that is that we still don't make it easy enough for that self-custody process to happen for the average Joe, right? I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, Joe. You know, we talk about all the time, the first time we like put something in a DeFi protocol, I'm thinking about the things I thought about when I first got in here, like Bitcoin has too many fucking decimal points, digits. What the hell is a hardware wallet? Much less setting up a fucking MetaMask wallet first. I mean,
RPCs,
yeah. I mean, this is not something that we make easy to do, and we may never be able to make it completely easy to do, but we certainly need to make progress on that. So,
yeah, no, it's look, that's what I like about that new Ledger wallet, device-based wallet. You know, that can make it easier, but the user has to buy the device.
Yep.
So if you could put that on the phone, maybe, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
That. Yeah.
No, that's good. I agree. Niblet says, Eamon, I was just about to say that 7% of an entire industry in cold storage with a single private holder, mind-blowing indeed. Yeah, it is astounding that there's 62 billion in cold wallets for them. At the same time, they have built a level of trust. Who knows? But
look, one other point too, that amount of money. Remember, this was founded in Shanghai. And then, after that, whatever, China put in the crypto ban, but yet, CZ's never in trouble with the China. I mean, at one time I remember hearing something, that might've been Justin Sun, but I haven't heard of CZ ever having issues with the Chinese government. So I wonder if, a lot of ultra high net worth Chinese have money in, crypto in Binance. I mean, would make sense.
Yeah, totally.
It would make total sense. So if you were like a higher ranking government official, and you want, the rule is you can't have crypto. Well, if you put it in Binance and it's not in China, do you have crypto?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking of human nature and just trying to connect some dots. But I would suspect a lot of that is money. What I'm saying, it's money that's not going to move.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
So that's another thing to think about when you're thinking, does Binance go under or not?
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah. And listen, I thought
I hope that's my age as well. Sorry.
Yeah. I think Plutarch making the comment that it's a stress test is valid, right? And then after I read that comment, I saw this tweet thread from CZ. He's basically saying, look, from day one of the exchange 5 years ago, there was sponsored FUD by a large exchange, which is now very small.
Is that Coinbase? Was that Coinbase or?
He doesn't say, but maybe it's Bitrex or Polynex or something.
Okay.
And he says articles that were written that said why Binance ICO will fail. CZ can't write code, et cetera, et cetera. He said we were a new startup, not able to reach all the media outlets. This competitor helped us to get the word out. I had many inquiries like, hey, just read about you. The article is negative, but it's obviously an attack. So I want to invest in you. Since then, there was hardly been a week going by without some FUD. We learned the ability to ignore them and keep building. We thank you all for your support over the years, and let's continue to build together. I just kind of wonder if CZ is sitting back saying, yeah, you know what? You guys take your best shot. Fuck it. Let's see what happens, right? And because here's the other side of this. If there are massive withdrawals continuing for the next few days, and there's not even a squeak on the exchange, and nothing bad happens, now what does Binance look like? Right now, now the brand is like fucking unbeatable.
Well, he's actually got a few things going for him, and when you think about it, more than the obvious, in that there's some kind of a dilemma. I don't know if it's hostage dilemma or what, but it's like it's the pull the pin on the grenade dilemma and hold it. If they take you out, you're taking them out too, right? Because if everybody comes after it, it's gonna you think FTX was a shit show?
Oh, please.
I mean, this is going to rip right through Wall Street.
Yeah,
and totally. Right through London. So they're going to put the wall up here and stop the attack right at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. All right. This was the breakdown of what's in the cold storage. Just if anybody's curious, 30 billion in stables, 10 billion in BTC, 6 billion in ETH. Oh, it was 6 billion in BNB. Sorry. So make that 56 billion without BNB. 9 billion in random mid low cap shitcoins, and 200 million in Sand, 700 million in Sheeb. And he can't find the Doge wallets though. So somebody took the spreadsheet and broke it all out to give you what's in the cold wallet.
So he's seeing the actual holdings. Okay. Because I was concerned about mark-to-market issues. Like sometimes, you can pull some tricks where, like if, you put in BTC at 50, if you have certain accounting rule treatments that allow you to carry it, it's valued at 50 still. When we know
I
it's
see
not
what you're saying.
50.
No,
So
that's just the actual
but
counts.
he's looking at the wallets. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, look, I mean, $30 billion in stables, right? And everybody likes to comment about BUSD, but it's a fucking PAX-backed system. It's not. There's a regulated stablecoin provider like USDC.
Right. Isn't there something else going on there with the stables? Aren't they like migrating people out of Tether? And no, that's Coinbase. I'm sorry, that's Coinbase.
No. Binance is doing on trades. They have moved to all the pairs being BUSD instead of USDT or USDC. You can still cash out with USDC or USDT or withdraw, but the trading pairs are, from what I understand, have moved to BUSD pairs, which is a smart strategy for them. It's their
that's what I would do.
Right? So yeah, exactly. Eamon said, 2 true niblets. Of all the operators, I've got the most faith in the CZ. He seems to actually understand how the space works and what it takes to survive. That's how I feel too. Again, for Sean, if he actually is listening, I don't treat him as a hero. I just think he's a smart businessman. And so far, I've not seen anything out of him that makes me say, well, holy shit, I can't trust this guy. Now, should we decentralize? Should people get off the exchanges? Absolutely. If you're not day trading and you don't need all of your money in there, put it in a fucking wallet. Go on the internet and find the best way to do it and get it done, right? Protect yourself because anything could happen. But right now, I think that's probably the only game.
Yeah, look, the basic central exchange trade or procedures are you move it in, you make your trades, you move it off.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
If you leave it there, you're leaving it at, more risk than if it's sitting in, if you're smart, if it's sitting in any of your other wallets, hot or cold.
Exactly.
So that's the only reason, unless you're getting yield or something. But, people were used to here in the US, looking at a stockbroker sheet or whatever statement and, it just kind of shows it all there. And so we kind of like that convenience, that dashboardy feel that they're presenting to you of all the listings.
Yep.
And so you get lazy.
That's right.
And, you leave it. I remember when I had piled some up over there on Binance and, in about 24 different positions. And it was, everything kept going up. It was just, one of those great times when it just, every time you woke up at 3, there was a 40% gain or something. But I started just sweating bullets, and to get it all off, it took me like an hour.
Yeah.
To basically convert it all and move it all off of the exchange. But, until I did that, I was always sweating bullets. It could go to zero because, I got crushed in the Cryptopia thing. So not crushed, but, hit in the Cryptopia. Yeah. So that scares me. Yeah. But,
did they ever find out what the fuck actually happened with Cryptopia? I mean,
I don't know.
I've never heard anybody wrap that story up.
It was hacked by somebody, I think, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it was one of the original developers, maybe, because then
there were accusations about it being an inside job, and I don't know. Well, so to make you sweat a little more, this news is interesting. Not even air-gapped PCs are safe anymore. You buy a PC, it's never been online, never touched the internet. Air-gapped PCs are now vulnerable to data theft via power supply radiation. So even if somebody gets within 2 meters of you, they can use electromagnetic waves to transmit data from air-gapped systems.
So now you know what's going on in all those, when you're going through a Chinese airport and you're walking through customs, now you know what's happening to every device going through there. I mean, really, it's what right? They do.
I would have no doubt.
I don't think they're doing this exactly, but so is this article, I haven't read it. Is this article saying then that the power usage in a device is generating a frequency that these guys are able to pick up and decode the data from it?
It can work over a distance of at least 2.5 meters, and it's captured by a receiver. The information is isolated device can be picked up by a nearby smartphone or laptop, even if a wall separates the two. It's called the COVID bit attack. It was developed by a university researcher, Mordecai Guri, who has designed multiple methods to steal sensitive data from air-gapped systems stealthily. I hope he doesn't fucking release the work. Physically air-gapped systems are found in high-risk environments, energy infrastructure, government weapon control units. For a successful attack on such systems, a rogue insider, blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
Yeah, that's
malware.
important. No. It sounds like you have to physically put it on a device. Rogue insider or an opportunist intruder must first plant custom-made malware on the target computers through physical access to the air-gapped device or network. Well, how would it be a network if it was air-gapped? Air-gapped network, like a closed network of maybe 5 devices?
No, I don't think that would count as air-gapped. Okay, here it is. To transmit the data in the COVID, yeah. So you would have to physically get access to the device and put it on. Okay. The researchers created a malware program that regulates the CPU load and core frequency in a particular manner to make the power supplies on air-gapped computers emanate electromagnetic radiation on a low frequency band. The primary source of electromagnetic radiation is SMPS, is because of their internal design and switching characteristics. Yada 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 yada.
The next is interesting. Next 2 sentences. Read the next 2.
Oh wait. Sorry. The primary in the conversion from AC to DC, AC-DC to DC-DC, the MOSFET switching components turning on or off at specific frequencies creates a square wave. The electromagnetic wave can carry a payload of raw data following a strain of 8 bits that signify the beginning of the transmission. So the idea was, if you can get physical access to it, install the malware on it, you may not be able to actually take data from the machine, but you can then have a device within 6.5 meters of the machine that can take the data that would be transmitted via radioactive
crazy shit, man.
Signals. Yeah, it's crazy.
Because I know that there's this is pretty regularly known, but you can use I remember back in the day you could use, so this was the years ago, so I know it's a lot worse. You'd use parabolic reflectors, and I don't know if you know it, but when you there we go. Chuck said.
Yeah, Chuck said this is clickbait. It requires physical access. Yeah.
So whenever you type on a keyboard, you're emitting a frequency with each keystroke.
Yeah.
And so, you can basically set up parabolic reflectors and aim them at office windows. And you can pick up what's being typed on the computer from the frequency waves going through the glass of the window.
All right.
The vibrations. So what I think is cool about that is that square wave coming off of that power, it's somehow they're putting a payload into that of some kind. A data thing, which is, I'm guessing these are Israeli guys because they're like, super shrewd on that kind of stuff.
So Chuck says this was the plot MacGuffin in Neil Stephenson's Cryptonomicon. They just built it for real. All right. Well, that's an
I haven't seen that. Have you?
I don't know if that's a book or a movie. Sounds like a book.
So hey man, you still watching Peripheral?
My son and I haven't been able. I won't watch it without him, and we haven't been able to sit down and watch him because of his school load right now. The teachers are all piling on the work before the holidays. They make it seem like they're doing you a favor. I'm not going to give you work over the holidays. It's a fucking holiday.
But bring your sleeping bag.
So I'm going to make you do extra work before the holidays. Yeah. Niblet says days in government systems in a telecom can confirm that keystroke can be read remotely from the wire form keyboard to computer. Oh, interesting. Wow. It's crazy. Okay. Well, this is a little bit nuts. Some fucking Bitcoiner implanted a lightning chip so he could make BTC payments by hand.
In his hand? Physically in his hand?
Physically. An NFC payment chip. There it is.
Should have just put it in his head, man. And he could just like headbutt the terminal.
Look at it. There it is right there in the picture.
Look, I mean, it is kind of an interesting idea. If you, there's other applications for that kind of stuff. Chip implantation, of course. But if this had like private keys or something like that in it, or it doesn't, I guess, have to be in you. But if there's some way to, go ahead. What's Eamon saying?
I just said Cryptonomicon is a great book. Neil Stephenson does some cool stuff. I didn't realize Neil Stephenson was Snow Crash because I'm.
Oh, I didn't either.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's he coined the term metaverse. So, Eamon, thank you for the education. Appreciate it.
But look, a device like this could be like, you think about biological proof of identity, something in your DNA data or cellular data that unlocks your devices, and I guess could have seed phrases and wallets and things like that. That's a bit of a stretch for a while. How do you do that? Isometric, eye stuff could do it. Yeah. But I like the idea of having some kind of a proximity thing that turns everything on and off for you, because it's seamless. I don't know. I'm sure the shit could be hacked or something like that, but maybe that's something in your little Fitbit watch or your Apple smartwatch or something,
Yeah.
that does the same thing. I don't know.
Can you see the little lump in his hand in the picture? This is the second one. The first one was a bad chip. He had to do it twice.
Where is he? In El Salvador? Oh, no, sorry. Okay,
no, that's when he was there visiting. I don't know where he's from. He says it's not a good idea to take the chip in and out of the body. He just happened to install a bad chip. It's like, dude, did you fucking test the chip before you inserted it into your hand?
Yeah, that's a little too hardcore, man. I still trust my ability to memorize stuff. It's like, but maybe you're a bunch of seniors. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What is she doing?
I have no idea.
Oh, she's got an
NFC chip in her socks. That little man tickling the girl.
Yeah. That's a little scary.
Great.
That's going to play well. That's going to probably put you in jail in 20 years. Oh, it's signaled intent.
So this is not crypto related, but I fucking love this idea. This guy has started a company called Do Not Pay to use GPT-3 so you don't have to hire an attorney to get out of your your speeding tickets. So they are looking for volunteers that have an upcoming ticket court hearing. They'll pay the ticket if you lose, but they're going to make GPT-3 come through your AirPods and give you legal advice as you're negotiating or discussing with the judge to try to get your ticket dismissed.
Why not? I love all the AI, like somebody talking into your ear, like when you're standing there talking and somebody's having a conversation. If you didn't even have to ask, and it would just be listening to the conversations and then give you maybe they're talking about Monet, and it would be like, oh yeah, that painting, Pont Neuf, and it would just pull in like 3 things for you to say. Yeah. For like cocktail party squabble or whatever. But I use the who are the guys that the ticket fixer dudes around here?
Ticket Clinic.
Yeah, I use them. It usually takes years, but they do get them all. One day there's a hungover judge and they throw a pack of 80 tickets in front of me. He's like, fuck it.
Yeah. Like, they got a ticket for my wife dismissed. Not Ticket Clinic, but another one down here. And he was fantastic. We didn't have to do a fucking thing except send a credit card payment. It was awesome. It
was the same with the red light camera tickets. That's what I was using them for.
Yeah,
I think it nailed at those. Yeah.
That's what my wife got out of. So, all right, dude, that's all I got for today. Unless you have something else. Oh, CPI. Holy shit, we didn't even touch on CPI. Tell me what happened. Because I haven't been paying attention all day.
It beat expectations on both sides. I think it was. I know that the core one was 6, and I think the other one was 7.1. But yeah, everybody's happy. Equities were popping. Let me take a double look real quick. Dow's up 400, Nasdaq's up 3%. Nikkei futures are holding up, but not as big as earlier. And BTC and ETH, I think BTC was up almost 5%, and ETH was up about 6.5% before the show. So everything seems to be popping. Nice. Why? Of course, because it keeps reinforcing, whatever people are calling the pivot. Some people think it's when you stop raising as fast that it's a pivot. To me, it's always if you start cutting, it's a pivot. Yeah. But I think what we're trying to see here is the Fed. I can't remember when. Well, is it a 25, 50 points hike or is it no hike? I think everybody's feeling like, okay, the end of the hiking is near. I don't know. It might be another half, 50, 75, because I know they want to get to a certain number. But, maybe they won't.
Yeah.
So, to me, the big card right now is China. And, now that they are unlocked, supposedly I tweeted about this, but supposedly the virus is just ripping through Beijing right now.
Well, I will tell you though, I talked to someone in China yesterday morning.
Yeah.
And they are so fucking happy. Like,
oh yeah.
Oh my God. He's like, you have no idea how friggin' happy everyone in this country is right now.
Look at the pictures of like Beijing. Nobody's out. They're all self-quarantining now, which is, that's what you want people to. I mean, you got to have some limited stuff sometimes if it's going crazy. But so to me, the question is, when do those cash flows and that purchasing power come back online fully? And just like here, where we were everybody's piled up savings. Not everybody, but it seems like there's a lot more savings out there than there were before the pandemic, or just barely under it. And people want to spend. There, it's going to be the same thing. So the question is, how much does it rip through Beijing or not? Does a new variant emerge? Which is kind of the one thing that worries me. But the good news is that they're going to let it rip. So, we'll see what happens in the hospitals, what the body count looks like. It's probably going to be high. But I think they have to do it because they haven't done what we did. They haven't been exposed to it like all of us have now. So we have herd immunity. Our risk is another variant. They don't have it. So when this rips, it's going to be the kind of the thing at the very beginning when everybody was anti, was saying just let it rip. I remember one particular White House advisor was saying that. But the hospitals are already full, and the problem would have been it just overwhelmed the hospitals. And
it would have been devastating. Well, it was. I mean, there were people dying from heart attacks outside of the fucking hospitals because they couldn't get a bed. So it's not like we didn't have that impact here.
Yeah. Well, China's got 4 beds per 100,000 people. So you could see that this could be a constraint problem. And we'll see how it plays out. But I think, look, it's the only choice they have at this point. What's Xi going to do? Like, keep everybody locked down for a year? It's not going to happen.
Niblitz wants to know, what's the impact on crypto DeFi if inflation turns out to be transitory? What if secular?
I think to me, inflation is transitory. It always is. I mean, unless you're out of control, let's say, not picking on the Argentines, but let's say if you're somewhere where it's just, always going up crazily, then that's not transitory. It would be, hit a longer timeline, it would be transitory. So to me, I think that the targets are to get to 2% inflation, but I think 3 or 4 is okay. I mean, I think the pre-dot-com average T-bill rate was 6%, and it's at 4 right now. No, but that was actually 10-year yield, I believe, was at 6. Right now, I think 10-year yield's at 3.5. So I think the main effects on Niblitz are on, how does it drive the Fed to react to it? What is the Fed's response to it? So when inflation goes up, yes, Fed is going to raise rates to slow the economy down. And if we go by traditional things with crypto being risk on, people aren't going to be, there's no extra money. So discretionary money, is not going to flow in. So I think that's the issue. If inflation is secular, then I think it's a moot point, because I think it on both sides, to make it secular, both sides have to be neutral. So I think you're talking about a constant number basically. I don't think that affects it at all, just because it doesn't cause an event that we then react to. Hope that helps.
Yeah. I'm going to close out the show with a beautifully aged tweet by Elon Musk from November 13th. Showing his right-wing shill and conspiracy theory embracing. SBF was a major Dem. Huh?
Because do you think that he's just nuts? Or do you think he really believes all this stuff? Or do you think he's doing it for attention and narcissism? Or what? What do you think? I mean, I just find his behavior erratic.
I don't know. He's lost how much money in Tesla value?
Well, he's lost $35 billion on Twitter already.
Yeah. I think he's a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
I think he's doing it for attention. I think he, got stuck in the YouTube fucking algo that from watching a couple of conservatives. And I think he's a fucking nut job. I think Thiel and Sachs, have manipulated him too. Because those guys, they want no democracy. They want a dictatorship in this country. And so, I think it's all that. But,
Well,
he went from what you could truly call a moderate or a left-leaning moderate to extreme right inside of like no more than a year, maybe year and a half, right? With, an entire company whose mission is to save the fucking planet. And he has gone from that to, he's on the same path as fucking Kanye, just not quite as deranged sounding. Just, going to the buyers. Every day he's trying to insult the entire segment of the population that has paid for and made Tesla what it is. So, that's not exactly sane.
Well, I want to go because look, to your point, I think as we've talked about this before, with sort of genius inventor types, and let's say they're sort of neuroscience composition, okay, that they are suggestible in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
And I just feel like you that somehow whoever's around him now or who he's hanging with is, somehow gotten his attention. And maybe he's in a loop and that's all he's hearing, but he's too smart to be going down. That's why I was curious if he thought it was just a marketing thing or something. Because, just this tweet right here, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Just on alone.
Well,
if he was a major Republican donor too.
Well, I think in fairness, I think at the time it wasn't known yet that he had done all his Republican donations in dark money. So I'll give him that benefit of the doubt. But
okay. But that's how you play the DC game. You play both sides of the aisle with money.
This is just a stupid thing to tweet unless you're full down the fucking conspiracy right-wing rabbit hole, right? It's just stupid. Like, it's just a stupid. It means you're so disconnected from the real world that you're willing to say stupid shit like this.
Well, when you talk about that, it's like where they try to. It seems to me where they're trying to go is to say like that there's this little cabal of like 2 or 3 people calling the shots for everything, and it's just not that way.
It doesn't work.
Those conspiracies. Do you know how many millions of people would have to be in on that conspiracy, and that none are going to talk?
It's just like the election conspiracy.
Yeah,
it's like, are you fucking nuts? Have you ever watched the Democratic Party try to accomplish fucking anything?
It's a sausage factory, man.
God, it's what Will Rogers always say. I'm not a member of any organized party. I'm a Democrat. Give me a break, people. Just give me a fucking break.
It's like was it W.C. Fields who said I would never join a club that was having me as a member, or was that somebody else?
Yeah. I think that was Fields. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
but anyhow, go ahead, buddy.
Great day. Everybody have a lovely day. Niblets, Chuck, amen. Euphoric. Thank you so much for participating today. I love chatting with you guys. I love your opinions and thoughts and ideas. It is always welcome. If you're just listening on the podcast, by the way, the Elon Musk quote was, SBF was a major Dem donor, so no. Join us, man. Come discuss. Don't hang around and not take part in what's going on here, because we have a lot of fun together. So please join us. If you like what we're doing, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you're listening to the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up today and subscribe and turn on the click the little bell so you get alerts when the new episode comes out. Niblet says the red pill, apparently. I hope everyone has a fantastic afternoon. Joe, I hope you have a great day, and adios.
Yeah, look, man, good news. Everything's going up right now. All the media stuff is going to drag you down. Yeah, I wouldn't even watch it, to be honest. Just focus on your projects, focus on building new tech if that's what you're doing. The money is still there for good stuff, and focus on decentralization. That's what we all say, and then we drift towards centralized to, fit into everybody's boxes. We don't need to do that.
Yeah. And lazy.
It's easier. And lazy. Yeah, it's easier to get the money.
Yeah.
But, I think we ought to, like, one of the things, somebody just do an UBI protocol, a basic one that can run on its own organically in the wild. and let's turn it fucking loose. Let's do stuff like that.
I love it.
That's why I'm so excited about when I look at Geist, it always gets me because of the no governance. There's nothing there. I think.
Yeah.
So they're saying. But you know,
you didn't run through the smart contracts, Joe?
No, I need other people for that.
Okay.
But the point is that, you know, this is a speed bump like everything else. And media is gonna, you know, it's big numbers. What, 8 billion, 800 billion, 4 billion, I don't know. It's numbers, but it's probably going to turn out to only be a couple of B in 10 years because the prices will all recover and everybody like, oh, if they didn't drop, it wouldn't happen. So keep doing what you're doing and don't like fold the tent now, but don't take stupid moves. Look for good stuff.
That's right.
Be safe.
All right. Have a great one, buddy.
See you guys tomorrow.